This scorecard breaks down a habit into three specific variables: the input cost in time and effort, the expected outcome, and the inevitable trade-off you have to accept. Habit 1. Limit your news intake. The input is simply consciously avoiding daily feeds. The outcome is a lower baseline of anxiety. The trade-off is accepting occasional ignorance on trending daily topics. Habit 2. Drink water immediately upon waking. The input is consuming 16 ounces of water. This ignites your morning metabolism. The trade-off is that it requires night-before preparation to remove the friction of the task. Habit 3. Reflect on one win before sleep. You invest 1 minute of mental review to train your brain for success. The trade-off is a high risk of forgetting to do it, so you have to install a physical prompt next to your bed. We can bundle habits 4 and 5. Reading 10 pages a day trades the quick dopamine of scrolling for compound knowledge over time. Stepping outside for 10 minutes forces you to trade your workflow momentum for a necessary physiological stress reset. Habits 6 and 7 dictate your physical work structure. Using Pomodoro timers buys you sustained, rigid focus, but you trade away the potential of uninterrupted flow states. Standing 10 minutes an hour boosts your circulation, but you have to fight the physical friction of adjusting your desk setup. Habit 8 is planning your day the night before. An input of 5 minutes of evening prep reduces morning decision fatigue. The trade-off is that you are forcing your brain to engage with tomorrow's work stressors right before you try to wind down. Habits 9 and 10 leverage external focus. Writing a gratitude sentence trains your brain for opportunity recognition, though you must push past feeling like it is a cheesy exercise. Complimenting one person daily builds social capital, but requires you to overcome your baseline introversion. These first 10 habits are the lowest friction investments on the board. You are trading minimal slivers of time for baseline mental stability. Looking at the updated scorecard for Habit 11, we enter the tier requiring heavy behavioral resistance. Banning screens 30 minutes before sleep measurably increases deep sleep quality. The exact cost is the complete sacrifice of your late-night digital entertainment. Habit 12 asks you to wake up 30 minutes early. Adjusting this schedule secures reactive-free control over your morning. The rigid trade-off is that it mandates an earlier bedtime. Attempting this without adjusting your sleep time just creates sleep deprivation. Bundle habits 13 and 14. Setting 3 micro-goals ensures consistency, but requires the strict discipline of actually keeping those goals micro. Stretching 2 minutes every hour sustains your energy, but it requires rigid alarm constraints throughout your day. Habit 15. Track your expenses. Logging your daily spending creates clear data on your spending habits. The trade-off is high administrative friction. You have to touch a spreadsheet or an app every single time money moves. Habits 16 and 17. 5 minutes of meditation builds emotional resilience, but the early frustration rates are high. Learning one new word sharpens your precise thinking, but it yields a slow, long-term return on investment. Habit 18 is saying no more often. Rejecting incoming requests keeps your time and primary goals off the table for others. The absolute trade-off is the generation of short-term social friction and personal guilt. Habits 19 and 20 internal biology and psychology. Limiting sugar stabilizes your mood, but requires fighting biological cravings. Positive mirror affirmations override your default negativity, but you have to push through initial awkwardness. This middle tier provides high long-term leverage, but to access that leverage, you have to actively embrace significant upfront emotional and social discomfort. Resetting the scorecard for Habit 21 introduces our final tier of micro-adjustments. The 2-minute rule means immediately executing short tasks. It reduces low-level procrastination, but carries a volatile trade-off risk. If too many small tasks appear, you will derail your deep work sessions. Habits 22 and 23 are environmental tweaks. Eating one more vegetable is a dietary upgrade that requires adjusting your baseline grocery habits. Decluttering one thing daily secures visual organization, but demands daily vigilance. Habit 24. Make your bed. A 1-minute tidy secures the first psychological win of the day. The trade-off is that it is purely psychological. It offers no functional benefit to your actual daily output. Habits 25 and 26. Smiling on demand uses neurological trickery to boost your mood, even if it feels inauthentic. Writing your biggest goal daily primes your subconscious to hunt for opportunities, but can generate frustration if your visible progress starts to lag. Habit 27 is unfollowing negative influences. Ruthless feed curation protects your mental health from energy-draining content. The trade-off is the potential for real-world social fallout when people realize you cut them off. Habits 28 and 29. Taking 5 deep breaths is a physiological sigh that hits the reset button on anxiety, but requires you to have the self-awareness to pause mid-panic. Cutting one digital distraction increases productivity, but triggers withdrawal and the fear of missing out. Finally, habit 30. Celebrate progress, not perfection. Accepting a 1% improvement sustains consistency. The trade-off is abandoning ego-driven desires for immediate, flawless results. These final 10 actions illustrate a pattern. Transformation is often the result of managing small environmental and psychological frictions, rather than attempting sudden total overhauls. Now that we have categorized the inputs and trade-offs for these 30 habits, you have to resist the urge to adopt the entire menu. This habit matrix maps the habits onto a 2x2 grid, weighing the daily effort and friction against the compounding impact over time. This allows us to plot the exact 3-habit stack tailored to your specific bottleneck. If you are an overwhelmed beginner, your stack is habits 2, habits 5, and habits 24. Drinking water, stepping outside, and making your bed. This establishes baseline control with near zero friction. The trade-off is that productivity shifts won't happen immediately, but you will build the momentum required for the next tier. For the time-poor professional, your stack is habits 8, 18, and 21. Night before planning, saying no, and the 2-minute rule. This combination reclaims lost hours and clears your cognitive backlog. You just have to accept the initial pushback from colleagues and clients. Finally, the system optimizer. Habits 6, 11, and 15. Pomodoro timers, banning screens before bed, and tracking expenses. This extracts efficiency across your health, wealth, and focus. The trade-off is high administrative input and the requirement for rigid adherence. Identify your current bottleneck right now. Select just one stack of 3 habits. Execute them exclusively for 14 days. Pay the cost, accept the trade-offs, and let the return compound before you